Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Happy New Year to everybody watching. We can all kiss 2020 goodbye and say hello to a brand new 2021. So excited about this new year, as I'm sure everybody is, just with how crazy 2020 was. So to get 2021 started, we have a 10-game NBA slate for today. Let's get into it. This week so far hasn't gone according to plan for me personally, but I'm still gonna grind through it, gonna still stick to my process, and I know things will turn around very quickly. And a couple of things like Dragic playing 10 minutes, and then yesterday, Whiteside playing 3 minutes, traveling, and then not getting to see the court again. Just things that you don't really account for. But 10 games today, we have a lot to discuss. I will go through this video pretty quickly and then post a final course on Twitter later in the day because I'm sure we'll get some news that will shake this slate up. But let's get started. Thank you guys for all the support you guys showed me in 2020. Hopefully 2021 is more of the same. Let's get started with the video. As always, you guys can hit the like button down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow on Twitter at the DFS Process for updates, and let's get started here. So go game by game pretty quickly. Some games we don't have to discuss too much, but this first game is going to be pretty important. We have the Grizzlies and the Charlotte Hornets. This game can be like a bit of a game stack, I think, especially on the Grizzlies side looks good, and then you have some prices that look good on the Charlotte side. But on the Grizzlies side, not only is John Morant going to miss a few weeks, not only is D'Anthony Melton out, but also Grayson Allen hurt his ankle in that loss last game, played 11 minutes against Boston, and then is doubtful for this contest. So just more shorthandedness for this Grizzlies team. You saw Bain start the second half in place of Grayson Allen, and he played pretty well. He was their best player last game out against Boston. He can score the basketball. He's only $3,700. Seems like a nice play on the Grizzlies side for value. My man Dylan Brooks, another awful shooting game. Seems like whenever he's in a really good spot, he just has his worst shooting games ever. It was against a Boston team, which I can kind of get, but hopefully he turns it around today because I still like him. Price tag is still fair at 6,300. Just so much usage without John Morant, without all the other injuries, Jaren Jackson Jr., etc. He just has so much usage. Only played 28 minutes, was average just under a point per minute fantasy wise, but expect him to see big minutes if this game is close, and I think it has a much better chance of staying close than that Boston game where they lost by 19 and they weren't really in it in the second half. So I still like Dylan Brooks at 63. I still like Kyle Anderson at 6K. He had almost had a double double, had 8 turnovers, which was really bad. But yeah, price tag is 6K. Another guy that lost like a whole rotation in the fourth quarter with the blowout. So another guy just like Brooks who should see mid 30s in minutes if this game is close. So those are the three that I really like on the Grizzly side. Valanciunas is $8,300. I don't think I need to go there. And then on the Charlotte side, I like Gordon Hayward to bounce back from a 4 of 16 shooting effort. He looks like a good bounce back candidate. That game also got blown out, but they ended up blowing out the opposing team. And Washington was in just huge foul trouble, which was pretty disappointing. But he's 56, another guy that you can target on the Charlotte side. So those are the two that I really like on Charlotte. But on the Grizzly side, I like Bane a lot. And then I think I will probably go with Brooks again just because I know what he can do without Moran out there. And just need him to shoot the ball. Like 6 of 18. Just need him to make his shots. He's going to shoot. He just needs to make his shots. 2 of 9, 6 of 18. Definitely can do way better than that. So a lot to like from the first game. Not so much in the second game. We have the Heat and the Mavericks. The Heat are getting Jimmy Butler back, so that is just gonna bump down Tyler Hero, whose price tag is up to 65, is gonna bump down Dragic, whose price tag has gone up. Butler, I'm not that interested at 78 either. I think there's some better plays that we'll get to. And then Luka at 10-3, killer last game against Charlotte, 24.5. Price tag is favorable, but He'd have a good defense. They're definitely going to game plan for Luka. I think I like a few other spend ups today. I don't want to go have some more pain from Luka again, like I did last time out. So not that much interest. Not that much interest right now in this second game. Moving on to the third game, where there's also not a ton of interest. Blake Griffin is out with a concussion, so you're going to see Josh Jackson play well, or at least get the start again and play good minutes. Hopefully, he can continue to play well like he has been. He's been solid, one of their better pieces. 5,200, he looks like a viable option. Grant is 68. He's been killing it. They've been losing, but he's still been killing it. 53, 40, 47, and almost 47 fantasy points last game against Golden State. Those were some easy matchups against defenses like the Hawks Warriors, Cavs. A lot tougher against Boston. This game, I think, for the most part, is a stay away, minus a few pieces like Josh Jackson. And if you're feeling Grant to have another big game, you can. And then if you want to chase Jeff Teague if he starts again, you could do that, but I'm not playing Jaylen Brown. People might chase his monster game. That was impressive to watch, 7 of 10, 15 of 21, but I won't go back to him against Detroit. So, out of the first 3 games, I have the most interest in the first game, and it's not even close. This fourth game, we have a rematch of the Hawks and Nets. This game was an absolute shootout. Last time these two teams played, just a few days ago, you saw Durant almost have a triple-double. 2 assists shy, he put up 63 fantasy points. He looked like a solid option. Kyrie Irving just couldn't make a shot in the beginning. He finished shooting 10 of 27. Still nothing like he's capable of. Looking at his first couple games, had a bad shooting game. He looks like a guy that you can definitely go back to at 93. The price tags have come up a little bit on those guys, especially Durant, who went from like 84 to 91, and John Collins is up to 7,200. And Gallinari, surprise, surprise, he's already out again. So you're going to see some viable options like Reddish, Hunter as a Q tag. So we'll see. This game, you can get some good value from this game depending on the Hawks. If Hunter's out, then Reddish looks really solid. You can look to Bogdanovic. He's 54, so he's not super cheap, but he would probably get the start if Hunter isn't able to play. So keep an eye on that. LeVert to 71 is some guy that I'm not that interested in just because it's pretty expensive, I think. Moving on to the Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the Bulls got a win last night against Washington. It's a back-to-back for them, but they are shorthanded because Markkanen is out. They're also going to be missing the backup point guards, Satoransky and Arcidiacono. They are both out, so you're going to see big minutes for Kobe White, who played 40 against Washington. Couldn't shoot the ball. Like, it's kind of been the story for him this season. 5 of 16, but he put up 40 fantasy points, had 10 assists, 6 rebounds. Can definitely fill up the stat sheet. He looks playable. Drew Holiday looks a little bit better on the Buck side, just with the matchup for him. It's a lot easier going up against the Bulls than going up against the Bucks. Zach LaVine's price tag is only $7,600. I like that a lot. He went from 89 to 79 to 84 to 79 down to 76. It's a spot where this game is a little bit scary because they could get blown out, but I like Zach LaVine. His price tag looks really nice. He can shoot, get you rebounds, assists, does a little bit of everything, even when he doesn't shoot the ball particularly well, like last game. Yesterday, 35% from the floor. Game before that, they're 40%. Still put up 41 and 46 and a quarter fantasy points. I think he looks like a strong option. We can plug him in at the guard position. And then you can look to, like Thaddeus Young came off the bench, played 27 minutes, put up 31 fantasy points. It is a back-to-back, and he hasn't played. That was his first action. So we'll see if he's able to play. Probably will play, but good chance that they take it easy on him because he missed missed a few of the early games with an injury. I think you could go back to like Otto Porter. He's 56. He had a huge game starting in place of Markkanen, and it's nothing like you're not expecting a 57 fantasy point game out of him again, but definitely has the upside just because he's going to get the minutes with all the injuries, and he can definitely shoot. And if he's hot, then we can see like a sub 50% or greater than 50% shooting from him, and he can get you rebounds. And he's not super expensive either, so. I do like Otto Porter. He's my second favorite Bull besides Zach LaVine. And then on the Milwaukee side, besides Drew Holiday, I'm not looking at too much. Like DiVincenzo's expensive at 51. That's where he should be. Middleton is 77, so not that interested. Giannis is 11K. He's playable, but I like Jokic we'll get to. So I like the Bulls a little bit in this game just with the injuries that they're dealing with. Washington and Minnesota, this game will be fun. Washington is 0-5 to start the season. Westbrook is probably going to rest today on a back-to-back, so you're going to see some good value from this team, and it's a really good spot against Minnesota. So first guy you want to talk about is Raul Neto. He is $3,400. Going to start in place of Westbrook, just like he did the game against Orlando where he put up 40 fantasy points, 22 minutes off the bench. Yesterday put up 29, so he can definitely fill it up at 3,400. Draftkings did not account for the back-to-back, so you're getting a nice bargain on Neto, and you definitely want to play him in cash. Definitely think he's a tough tournament fate as well. Bradley Beal is 9,400. That's a good price tag for him. He can definitely play him here. There's also some other guys you can consider if you don't feel good about paying 94 for Beal, but like I think Levine and Beal, you're gonna kind of have to make a decision if you want to go with the cheaper guy that can, put up 40, 50 fantasy points, or go with Bradley Beal, who definitely has a huge ceiling in this type of matchup. But just depends on who else you can play at your other positions. D'Angelo Russell has been kind of disappointing to start the season. They've gotten blown out a few times. The matchup is a lot different though, going from the Clippers and Lakers defenses going up against Washington. So I'm expecting a better game from him. $7,500 looks very good on paper, but last game they also did start Ricky Rubio, and that's just going to take some of the ball handling duties away from Russell. So we'll see if they probably will do that again because Carlton Towns isn't returning anytime soon, and then Naz Reid is 5,200, played 19 minutes. Well, they do have a lot of like bodies that they can throw out there. They still have Naz Reid, Ed Davis. They have Layman at the power forward position, Hernan Gomez. They do have a lot of bodies, so I don't think that any of them are like must plays, but a few of them definitely look strong in this matchup against Washington. And then on the Washington side, it's really the trio of Nato, Thomas Bryant, and Bradley Beal, who I'm most interested in. Moving on, we have the Lakers and the Spurs. Another rematch. These two teams just played their most recent game. And now that the Spurs have Derek White back, even though he's going to be limited, it's just another body that's going to take away minutes from all the other guards. So it's going to take a couple minutes away from Murray, maybe from Lonnie Walker, some from Johnson. So I'm not that interested in the Spurs side. And the Lakers side, I just haven't been getting to this season when they're all healthy because they just have so many guys that can put up fantasy points. So this game looks to be a fade unless something happens. Phoenix and Denver. This game looks pretty interesting. Nikola Jokic has been the face of the Nuggets for multiple years now, and then he's been making his case this season. 25, 12, and 14 to start the season. Almost has 4 straight triple doubles, except missed it by 1 rebound against the Clippers. Like I think he's definitely making his case this season for MVP if they keep winning. If they'll try to keep winning some more games. But if he continues his torrid pace, he's going to definitely have a good shot to do that. 10-6 for him. Get those bonuses on DraftKings for double doubles and triple doubles. And it looks to be a good spot for him against DeAndre Ayton, and not a very good defender. So sign me up for Jokic at center. There's not too many spend ups besides him and Giannis at the position. So I'll definitely go with him. And then on the Sun side, I like Chris Paul is 68. He looks very solid. We'll get to him. I mean, you can definitely play him if you want to. There's another guy that I like in the later game. And then, I'm not really interested in anybody else here. On the Sun side of his size, Chris Paul. And on the Nugget side, it's really Jokic. Murray, if he plays at 67, looks solid. And then Porter at 7K, so he's not in play for me. Moving on to the Clippers and the Jazz. Now, this game looks like it's definitely a tougher game. Both defenses are solid, but Donovan Mitchell's price tag is down to $6,800. Another reason why you're going to have to make a case if you want to pay all the way up for Bradley Beal because you have a couple guys that are just so much cheaper. Like another awful shooting game from Donovan Mitchell. 9 of 23 has just been his story. 23 shot attempts, 3 straight games. But now the price tag is just getting to a point where it's going to be tough not to like him. Even at this price tag, like 35, 38, 40 fantasy points is almost hitting 6x value right there. When he was 8K and 8,400, it was a much different story, but $6,800 for Donovan Mitchell, it's just a price tag that you don't see very often. So I definitely want to take advantage of that. And then on the Clippers side, I'm not really looking at anybody. And then Mike Conley is 66 and Mitchell is 68, so obviously I like Mitchell a ton more. And then the last game can definitely be a bit of a high-scoring game here. See if the Warriors can keep pace. They're getting back Draymond Green. It's probably going to be limited. $6,100 for him. See how good he looks in his first game back. Wiggins is up to 69, so I'm not looking at him. Maybe look at Oubre at 58. Look at Steph Curry. And then on the Portland side, you have Lillard at 98. That's pretty expensive. I won't be looking at him today. Or I won't be looking at McCollum at 84. Still waiting for Covington to have a good game. Got into foul trouble last game, so has been just not been able to do anything. He shot the ball well last game, only 4 shots, but made 3 of them, 2 out of 3 from distance. At 5 fouls, only playing 25 minutes is gonna kill you. But price tag is down to $4,600 in a really good spot against Golden State. So he looks in play here. And that's pretty much it for the first look for this 10-gamer today. Let's jump over to Fanduel. All right, Fanduel-wise, starting off here at point guard, you have Luka, and well, Luka is the only guy above 11K with Westbrook resting. Below 10K, you have Kyrie, who I like at 93. You have Damian Lillard at 93 as well. Both guys look solid. Scroll a little bit, you get Drew Holiday at a nice price tag at 66. You get Kobe White at only 61. That looks pretty good for him. Nato is 45. A little bit tougher to get to, but I still think he looks in play. And we'll see where Bane is. He's $3,700. Definitely looks like a solid option here. Right now, I'm looking at still looking at Kobe White at 61. Shooting guard, we have Bradley Beal at 95. You have Donovan Mitchell at 8K, so he's not that much of an interest on FanDuel. Zach LaVine is 79. I think he looks solid as well. Scroll down a little bit, you get a nice price tag on Russell, a nice price tag on Dylan Brooks, on Devin Booker. So those guys look solid. I like Wiggins at 64. He looks like much better than he does on DraftKings at 69. I don't think there's not many guys below 5K that I'm looking at this position. I like some of the cheaper point guards. You have some cheap small forwards I will get to. So here, I think you can pay up for like a Bradley Beal if you're feeling it, or you can go with like Dylan Brooks at 66. But I think I'll go with Bradley Beal at 95. Small forward here, you have Kevin Durant in a good spot at 94. You have Kyle Anderson at only 6,400. He looks solid. But on FanDuel, it's going to be tough not to like Otto Porter if he, as long as he doesn't rest on a back-to-back. But I think he'll play with just how thin they are. $4,400 for him at small forward. Just lock that in. That looked really, really good. Also, Josh Jackson, $4,800. Another cheap option that you can go to. Power forward, we have Tatum and Giannis as the two guys that you can spend up for. Still not spending up for Davis right now. Then you got a lot of question marks here. Collins at 7K looks solid. Washington at 63. Hopefully he doesn't foul like crazy again. He looks solid. Naz Reid is 4,700. He was super popular last game. Didn't do much. We'll see if people go back to him. But I think I'll kind of take a wait-and-see approach on him. Thaddeus Young at 37. Maybe you can play him if you need a pump play. I think FanDuel looks a little bit. The pricing is, well, some of these positions are not super deep, so it's kind of tough to pick who you really like. I think I might go with Tatum or Collins. I think I'd really like to spend up for. I'll just go John Collins at 7K. I think that looks solid, especially with some of the injuries with Hunter if he's out, and then with Gallo already out. So Collins should get some good minutes here as long as he doesn't foul like he also always loves to do. And then center, Nikola Jokic looks to be my guy today at 10-2 on FanDuel. I will go back to him. Like him on DraftKings, I'll go back to him on FanDuel here. Other options, you have Gobert, 79, Valanciunas, 77. I like Thomas Bryant a lot at 58. If you want to go a little bit cheaper here, you can do that. Bryant at 58 looks solid against Minnesota. Had a huge game yesterday. And then now that Green is back, Wiseman looks a little bit less appealing. And that's kind of it. So right now at this position, it's paying up for Jokic, paying down for Thomas Bryant, and then we'll see where we end up with all the news breaks during the day. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and best of luck today.